Hey, everybody, welcome to the Struggling Hunters, where we're working hard on figuring out these public hunts and sharing them with you on our podcast, going over our struggles, our successes, and anything else in between. I'm Eric.
I'm Joe.
And we are
the Struggling Hunters.
Very nice. We're dialing that one in.
Yeah, we are getting better. We'll sooner or later we'll find our voice in our intro.
Yes, for sure.
And talking about our intro, I'd like to take a few seconds here to say thanks for watching. We appreciate it. Again, watching it for the first time, please subscribe. If you're watching us a second time or third time, hit that like button. And just keep it up. We're growing here a little bit, and it gets us excited, but we can't do this without you guys. And we appreciate it, and we like seeing that. But anyways, and with that, we'll go ahead and get started with what we got going on, or what we got going on this year, or shouldn't say this year, but what our plans are for the next little bit.
Yeah, sounds good. Do you want to go first, Joe, or do you want me to talk about it a little bit?
I can jump in. So I guess we'll jump in by talking that I still got, for those of you that don't know, I've got the Utah archery tag, and I was unsuccessful in the general archery season. And now I did my online Utah online ethics course, which gave me the authorization and permission to hunt in the late season, which is still going on right now. And so I should back up and say elk as well. I was unsuccessful with a general archery elk tag, and now I can hunt the late season archery areas or units. So anyways, I took this last week off from hunting. It's kind of the first time in, I think, the last 3 months that I've actually taken a weekend off. And usually maybe I was hunting one day out of the weekend or something, but I just took this last weekend off and just hung around the house, did a little cleaning, and then went on a drive. That was fun. It was nice, not doing too much, but I was still hunting, still got some time to hunt, still trying to still positive, still feeling good about it. I think there's going to be some opportunities, and I hope I'm ready for them. But anyway, so that's where I'm at with my deer hunt and my elk hunt. I'm still in it. I still got some time. As far as game in the area, high pressured areas, low number of elk, and kind of a high, not too high, but a decent population of deer. I just don't know the population of antlers. But on that, I don't know how some of you feel. I know it's kind of a little bit of a touchy subject, but I can harvest a cow or a doe with either permit or tag. So, I know some people are like, oh, you don't want to take the females out of the herd because that's what grows the herd. But I am trying to fill a tag and also put meat in my freezer. So if one gives me an opportunity, I'm going to fill my tag.
I don't blame you there at all. I think anybody would do that, especially you. I mean, your tag's good for it either way, so why not? I mean, we did it all the time, or I know I did specifically whenever I lived in Idaho. I would always go after the bucks. Beginning of the season started to wear down. Luck wasn't going my way. I would harvest a doe. I'd prefer to harvest a buck for, like you said, like kind of being older and conservation wanting to do more for conservation and stuff. I mean, of course, I'd prefer a buck, and I know you would too. But at the same time, I mean, the whole tradition of hunting is to fill your freezer and to feed your family. And for me and you, even though we do a hunting podcast and all that, like that's really a big part of it for the both of us is we want to fill our freezers. It's not about being a trophy hunter necessarily, even though I don't think that that's a bad thing. That's not what it's about. So I think it's kind of ridiculous if it's controversial, but at the same time, it makes sense to me is what I'm trying to get at. And
Gotcha.
with that said, though, I did want to ask you a question. You said you went on a drive, but did you still take your bow?
I was going to, but I was like, I take my bow, I gotta take my pack, and then I was like, I don't really want to.
After I do all that, there's no room for the wife. So,
Right. Well, then I was like, man, if I do see something, and then like it's out there a ways, and then the wife is sitting back at the truck, for an hour or two, or four, and I'm out there trying to put a sneak on that deer. So
well, you probably made a good decision then.
so I didn't throw it in, and I didn't spend a lot of time glassing the areas. I just went on a drive and enjoyed the drive.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's funny. It's probably for the best. But when you said that you just went for a drive, I was like, yeah, I bet he still took his bow though.
No, I did pick it up. It was heading to the truck, but last minute I set it down and like, no, I just want to go and enjoy my time.
Yeah. Well, that's good, man. I think you've been working pretty hard. You probably needed a little kind of like, a chance to refresh and gather your thoughts. And
True.
so then you're going out this weekend.
Yeah, I was gonna head out this weekend and and try to get out early in the morning and maybe chase a little bit of elk. Hopefully they're still bugling, and I want to get out before the sun is up because I want to hit the area that I haven't had a trail camera up in there for a couple of years, or a year, 2 years, I think now, maybe 3. But anyways, I've had elk. I've had elk hit my trail camera, but it's always been between the hours of like midnight and maybe 4, 5 in the morning.
Mm.
And so my thought was I'd get up in that area and throw out some bugles and cow calls to see if I could get anything to show up, before the sun came up, and keep it around until after the sun was up.
Were you on a mountain face or anything like that? Like, was it like one direction or the other? Like the camera facing up the mountain, down the mountain,
It was kind of like side hill the mountain.
side
You
hill?
know, yeah, it was it's a big bowl, and I was kind of on like the north facing side of the bowl.
Okay. So I guess my follow up question is which way did they were they heading most of the time at that time?
It was hard to tell,
Yeah, yeah, okay. That makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense.
but I probably should go back and see if I can find some of those pictures and maybe look at that. But I had some salt out and stuff, so like they had stopped and licked the salt. So by the time the camera was taking pictures, if I remember right, it was kind of hard to tell which direction they were really heading and going from.
That makes sense. That makes sense. Well, it's worth the it's worth the question anyway to see exactly what you're up against up there.
Right.
But that sounds pretty cool. Yeah, hopefully luck kind of goes your way. I think we talked about luck a little bit in the last podcast, and hopefully it starts going your way. And me too. We got the struggling hunters curse. I mean, I feel like calling ourselves a struggling hunters really kind of put us in a weird position. Seems like nothing's going our way quite yet. But
True.
But with that said, though, for me, my hunt is coming up. Man, by the time this thing drops, it'll be pretty close to when my hunt starts. But as of right now, pretty much got about a month until my hunt starts, and I'm pretty excited about it. Getting a little nervous because it's coming so fast. I'm a little nervous in the fact that I'm like, am I prepared as much as I think I am? Do I need to prepare more? What do I need to do to prepare? Kind of asking those questions to myself. Um, Also kind of nervous because obviously with this podcast and everything, I mean, I don't know how much. I mean, I think it's more of a personal thing than an actual have to be successful. But personally, having the podcast and trying to make a hunting podcast, I'm hoping that I'm a little bit, that both of us are successful this year, and we can walk away with a couple wins in our belt. With that said, the other thing that I'm really excited about is I think I'm going to change the game plan to my hunt.
Okay.
And go to a whole new area. I've been studying it on Onyx. I had a guy kind of drop me a hint about it. And, he didn't kind of drop me a hint. He did drop me a hint and told me that it was a real good area and always had pretty good success through there. He's not hunting it anymore. So, it's really neat. That's the neatest thing about the hunting community is I've had a couple people come up to me and over the years and kind of tell me areas. And the hardest thing is to remember everything that they said. This guy that was telling me about it, as soon as I got done talking to him and got back in my truck, I started looking it up and, trying to remember exactly where he said and everything. And anyways, I've been e-scouting it, but I'm like, hey, this looks pretty nice. And just the confidence that he had about how good of an area it was, put a lot of confidence in me. And I'm pretty appreciative that he did that. So pretty thankful for that. And hopefully it all turns out. I guess I could go there and not come across anything and then be like, well, that didn't work. But it sounds like because we're doing the base camp stuff, it sounds like really good camp spot there's really good spot to camp there. It's kind of left alone for the most part. Not a lot of people go back in there. So should be pretty good. And then what I've seen from Onyx, it looks like good terrain. So yeah, I'm just excited about it. Not to go on forever about that area, but especially because I'm not sharing it yet. But with that said, though, I mean, I'm pretty excited. I'm really excited for my hunt this year. I'm just hoping that I got everything together. Hope I'm prepared enough, and really, on a personal level, I just feel like I have a lot riding on this hunting season here in Colorado. My hunt season is about 9 days long altogether. And that 9th day is pretty questionable if I'll even be able to do it because I took a week off of work. And if I remember right, the last day is on a Monday. So I probably won't hunt that day if I'm not successful throughout the week. So pretty much turns it into an 8-day hunt. But with that said, I mean, I'm still excited about it, planning on working hard and getting through or just busting trails out there and working hard until some comes up. I know I'm probably if I find a shooter on the first day, especially this year, I'm not passing it up.
Don't blame you.
I'm going for it and changing the curse of the struggling hunters, hopefully, if that happens. So yeah, that's pretty much all I got as of right now. I think as we get closer, I'll be, thinking about it a little deeper and hopefully having some more to share about what my plan is and how exactly I plan to attack it. But as of right now, I don't know how much I shared on the podcast so far, but I know Joe kind of, me and Joe have talked about the plan because he's coming up to join me. We're going to try to film as much as we can of it. And, but yeah, so Joe, I'm probably going to change the whole game plan, but I think it's for the best. I really do. So,
Well, that's like the one thing, you is deciphering information, and what I'm meaning is we've hunted that area that we've been at now for 2 years. We've seen elk sign. We know they've been there at some point. We've seen elk the first year that at least I've hunted there with you. And so and now we're hopefully the guy that is passing along some information to you. He's is a trustworthy guy that he's not trying to keep you out from where he wants to hunt, which doesn't sound like he's doing that. It sounds like he's genuinely trying to help you out and get you into where the elk are. So like taking that information from him having success in that area to what little bit of success, if you want to call it success, that we've had the last 2 years, that maybe with that, now maybe our success rate may be seeing a couple more elk and hearing some elk maybe, and then in turn you filling your tag.
yeah. I think it all work. And yeah, that guy, he's been getting tags for the last little while. He said that they used to hunt there for years and years and years, but the whole reason that they left the area is because they've been getting tags out of the draw, a lot of tags from draw, and using their points. And so it sounds like he's been pretty preoccupied doing that kind of stuff instead of hunting the over the counter areas like I am. So hopefully next year I can do something with the draw. I mean, I don't know. We'll see how that goes. I'm definitely not doing what I did 2020, man. It's been crazy. But as some of you may have heard from the very beginning of the podcast, I totally messed up and spaced off the first chance or the first draw. And then I went to the second chance draw and there was nothing there that I wanted. There was some stuff that I could have put in for, but there was just nothing that I actually wanted. So I decided to not try at all. But next year I'm gonna definitely pay more attention to that and maybe draw something out. So yeah, but I'm still excited. And plus I wanted to figure out that area. Another thing too is so the area that we're moving to, it's just kind of down the road. I mean, it's probably a little ways, but it's not like a completely different area. It's just kind of down the road from where we have been hunting.
Gotcha.
Maybe a couple miles or so. So it's not going to be that drastically different, but it sounds like a pretty good area to be down in. So gonna give that a shot and see what happens. So that's pretty much what I got with the hunting part. Something I'll kind of give the whole backstory. I was watching the Hunting Public the other day, and they were in, was it North Dakota? I think it was North Dakota. Not 100% sure where they're at, but anyways, their series is on Amazon, and so I was kind of nerding out and watching their series on there, and they got toward or tell where I turned it off at, but they finally got this big buck. One of the guys did, and they went down in this little pocket, and the deer were out in the field, and there was corn right at the edge of the field, but the deer were kind of bedded down out in the other part of the field where the corn wasn't. And long story short, they, at the end of the video, they were talking about this deer that they were down in this little pocket all day long. And that deer never knew that they were there, never suspected it, never looked over there once, did not worry about where they were in this little pocket. But there was two roads up above the deer and where they were, there was two roads that they said up above them. And that deer all day long would look toward that road all day long, but did not care what was over in the, like over on the other side, never really paid attention to it. They ended up getting the buck. It was a really nice buck. It was really good show. Matter of fact, go to Amazon Prime and just type in The Hunt in Public and you'll be able to watch it. But I just thought that was it kind of been sticking with me ever since, I don't know, I saw that Saturday. It's been sticking with me ever since, about how that deer would always constantly look at that road or the road system. And how they're, my take on it was that it was more concerned about the road and what was coming off of the road than it was anything else. And kind of made me think about our hunts whenever we're driving up to some spot to pull off, and how many deer have we happened to have jumped before we even knew it, because we pulled off and tried to get out and be all quiet and everything, do our part, but a deer was bedded down looking at us the whole time, just got up and jumped away because saw us pulling out and walking through the woods or
Right.
the fields or whatever. It just kind of made me think of that. I'm like, it's almost like, I guess what I'm trying to break it down to is you almost need to come up with a whole new tactic of how to get off of the road. Like maybe even where you want to hunt, maybe try to park like a half mile or so before that and jump down in there and start walking through there before,
True.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's just kind of a thought, because I never really thought about it, but I mean, it makes sense that a deer would stare at the roads, but I don't know. I guess I never really thought about it, never really broke it down that far.
Well, like if when I was out scouting this last year, I think I talked about it before in a previous episode, but one of the bull elk that I was able to get a picture of, I was going along the road, and there was already people watching it. There's one little family that saw him, but I was going to let them do their thing, and then I was just driving by. Then it was across the canyon from the road that I was on, but I saw the antlers and was like, okay, I'm stopping. Like,
Yeah.
I'm looking at this, and but it was interesting because he was 500 yards plus away from us, and they were in a razor. I was in my truck, and I pulled out my spotting scope and put my phone up to it and watched it, got some pictures. And then he kind of got a little nervous. He knew we were, he knew we were, I think, well, he knew we were watching us. He knew we were there, at least. I don't know if he knew we were watching him, but he knew we were stopped. And he would watch us for a little bit. Then he got to where he was getting nervous. And then he ran up the hill a little bit. And then he stopped again. And then off in the distance, you can kind of hear a couple razors or side-by-sides or something coming down the mountain. And then the people that I was with, they're like, oh, well, we've watched them long enough. We're ready to get going. And so they hopped in their little buggy and scooted on down the road. And like when these side-by-sides started making all their noise, he had enough and just took off.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a long distance away. It was to me, it was kind of just interesting that, like, more or less, he was a safe distance away, but he didn't feel safe.
Yeah. That makes sense. Years ago, whenever I still lived in Idaho, we were, me and a couple friends were on Highway 12 up toward Locksaw. I know you know where that is, Joe.
Yeah.
But we were up in there and we were driving. Can't remember what we were doing exactly, but I remember driving back and one of the guys in the truck saw a big old elk across the river, and we pulled over and we were staring at it forever, talking about how we wish we could shoot it and everything, but I mean, I know that elk thought we were there. The craziest thing about it though is that elk did not move for the whole time that I don't remember that elk moving. It might have moved at some point because we finally took off, but I feel like we took off because we got bored of looking at it and just wishing that we could shoot it, more so than it moving. Like, it was so still. I was like, man, that almost looks like one of those decoys that the old
Fish and
Game put out or something, But it was an elk. I've heard of the deer ones. I never heard of an elk decoy. So, but I was like, that thing did not move for forever. It just stood there, still, like he thought that we didn't notice he was there or something. But I don't know. It was kind of crazy how still he could be. And like I said, I don't think he decided to take off in the time that we were there. I think we kind of got bored of just staring at him. And but obviously, this is all before cell phone cameras, so I don't have no evidence of it, but it's a true story.
You mean you didn't have your little disposable 24-shot self-wind camera?
I wasted it on my selfie before selfies were cool.
Oh man, I wonder, oh shoot, yeah.
I used to resist selfies so much, like whenever selfies started to become a thing.
Oh,
I resisted it so much. I'm like, this is so ridiculous. Taking a picture of yourself, you gotta be kidding me. Now you should see my phone. It's full of selfies.
A little proud of yourself, huh?
Yeah. Now I try to take a few whenever I'm out hiking or hunting or something, but just kind of funny how it's all kind of changed. The selfie thing, I don't know how we went from hunting to this, but the selfie thing, I resisted it because I was like, this is ridiculous. This little thing ain't going to last. Like, the selfie, now that's all anybody does is take selfies.
Right.
It's ridiculous. Now we have special sticks that take selfies.
Right.
Yeah. It's ridiculous.
But yeah, anyways, back on topic, it does make you wonder, I've heard stories of people getting out of the truck before they get to where they want to hunt to go answer the call of Mother Nature. And then when they're closing the truck door to go, the elk or something's running just not that far from them. And it's, it's kind of, and I've heard people, people's tactics on how to, how they try to kill animals that it sounds bad, but that are just off the road, not from the truck, but actually trying to give a fair chase. People seeing something and then taking off running after it and whatnot. But it does make you wonder, what you can do to, like you said, park a half mile back or something, or, try to come up with a way to, what do you want to call it? Not bother, or, the deer that may be in the area that you're, like you said, they're just off the road. But if you pull off the road and park your truck and then take off, you're alerting the deer that are already in front of you that you're there. So it's and then it goes back to at what point do you start hunting, and the meaning, when do you go into stealth mode, I guess.
Yeah. I feel like you can't do it right away. Even though it might not be in the spot, like if you parked a half mile before your actual pull off and where you want to hunt, I'd probably still start hunting right away. But at the same time, I don't know. It's one of those things that, it might help your chances. It might not. You never know. But it was just really interesting to me about how that one deer in particular on the show was was just staring at those roads the whole time, kind of paying more attention of what was going on up there than anywhere else. I mean, kind of going back to what we've always said though, like if you're driving down the road and minding your own business, thinking that your hunt's over for the day and the biggest buck you've ever seen just runs right out in front of you, and you're like, this ain't supposed to happen.
Right.
This isn't what all the hunting forums say. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, it's tricky out there, but it's just something that I guess the reason I brought it up is because I think for my hunts, like it's something that I'm gonna kind of pay attention to is maybe trying to think of alternate routes, or if I want to hunt like kind of where we hunted last year. I feel like that was okay because we parked at the bottom there and then we walked up to where we started hunting. So I mean, I feel like we were kind of in a safe spot that way, but man, all the years that I've, been like, oh, I want to hunt this little, area, this mile or two wide area or whatever, and just pull over right where it is and jump out and then only start hunting right off the road, right where, where I think I should have probably went down the road further and walked toward the area that I wanted to start hunting. Or I mean, I don't think it would hurt by doing that, I guess is what I'm saying. So
True.
Or figuring out a way to, because kind of what they did, they were down in this little hole, and they kind of side blinded the deer. Like the deer never knew that they were over there. So if you could like think about it, but I guess that would take like the fact that you kind of know where the deer are. So I guess you'd have to know where the deer are first, but what I'm trying to say is like almost sneak up behind the deer. So like kind of use the road as advantage, kind of thinking in your head, like, well, if I hunt this area, but I walk toward the road, then I might run into deer that are kind of looking toward the road and not really paying attention to what's behind them. If that makes sense. So you can kind of use the road as an advantage.
Right. Or you can do like a little push too. Like if like we'd drop one guy off, then, if you think that there are going to be deer in a certain area, have him drop down and start walking to get behind that area, then have another guy go in and park where, you essentially would get out to hunt, and have him dive off there and see if he pushes any deer or elk or whatever towards the guy that's already down in there,
Yeah. Speaking of that, one of these days, I kind of want to do that exact thing. I've wanted to do it for years. I've thought about it personally, like, but I never presented it, I guess, or had the chance to present that idea. But it kind of makes sense if somebody could sneak up around wherever you're hunting and then kind of push stuff towards you, and just see what happens, see if anything happens to pop out.
Right.
Sounds like a good idea. I don't know if you've watched the Meat Eater, but they kind of did that exact thing in one of the episodes in the recent Meat Eater.
I know I've watched a couple of the Meat Eaters. I was trying to recall, but yeah, I've seen other people do that though too, where they did a little push, trying to push stuff out.
Yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense to try.
True.
Kind of did a mini one with you. Remember whenever I was like, I'm gonna blow through this little tree area, and if there's anything bedded out, maybe it'll run. Didn't work. I think that was desperation of knowing that the hunt was kind of getting close to being over. So it's like, at this point, I'll try anything.
Right.
But
true.
But yeah, go ahead.
No, you go on, Eric.
Well, I was gonna say that that's all I had for that segment.
Cool. So I thought one other thing though that I want to bring up was going to go again or bring up my drive that I went on this weekend. Got a little irritated, got a little flustered.
Yeah.
Or someone scratched my mean side. But so we go on this drive, right? And I get it. People, go up on side by sides, and which is, that's cool. I probably would have went on my side by side this weekend if I had one. Don't have one, so I'm gonna take my truck. Anyways, we're driving up their ways, and so I'm not driving too quick. I'm taking my time, just enjoying the drive, watching what's going on around me, enjoying the scenery, and not no big hurry at all. And I look behind my rearview mirror, and I see a side by side. So I go up a little bit to where the road widens up and put my blinker on, pull over, let the side by side go past. There's like 2 or 3 of them. No, there's more than 2. So there's I think there's 3 that passed me. So I sat there for a few seconds after they're gone. I was like, oh, no one's coming up. There's no one else behind them. I'll pull back out in the road and take off. So I do that. I check my mirrors, pull back out, driving along, and then I get up to this corner, and so it's I guess it would be a left-hand corner. So I'm on the outside lane, and as I hit the corner, I look in my mirror, and there's another side-by-side behind me. And I was like, okay, cool. I got another side-by-side, but I was like, I'm not going to pull over right here in the middle of this more or less blind corner, because there's going to be if there is oncoming traffic, it's not the safest spot to allow a pass. So I was going to wait until I got through the corner to where I can see what's coming at me, and then pull over. And so I'm making my way around the corner, and this guy behind me drops down on the inside of this corner, and it's not like a corner you can see all the way around, and he passes me. And I was like, it's like, dude, where's the etiquette? Where's the safety? You're putting me and my family in trouble, or in danger's way. Nothing bad happened, but you don't know if there's a car coming the other direction. What if there happened to be another side by side flying down the hill, going faster than it should be, and you're on the inside of the corner, and you're turning into me or turning into the mountain, and I got to react to both of that anyways. And so it's like, dude, where's the etiquette? I thought that you're not supposed to pass on the inside of a corner. Anyways, I got a little flustered, a little irritated.
I think anybody would. Seems.
And it's not that. Like I said, if I had a razor side by side or something, I would have been out in it. I'm not getting after the dude for enjoying his razor. I'm just getting after for him
being
not practicing safe etiquette,
being irresponsible.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. That would get me too. I mean, y'all are out there to, that's something that I noticed whenever we were out there hunting, and the area that me and Joe were out hunting, there was a lot of razors, and I would say 90% of those razor drivers did not look happy. And
no,
I'm like, okay, you're out here to enjoy yourself out in the woods. I would hate to see you in your regular life, because you must be miserable in your regular life, because you're driving out, we saw maybe a handful of people that were like, hey, how's it going? Kind of more friendly. A lot of those people were kind of angry. It was weird. So I don't know. Maybe it's a razor thing. Once you get a razor, you kind of got to be a snob. I don't know. Probably going to tick off a lot of people that have razors listening to this. But
I would say I wouldn't mind, finding that out for myself. If you turn into a snob with the razor,
yeah, no, I would like that chance too. Chances are, though, I'd still be pretty happy.
Right. But anyways, I I, I hope whoever's listening, if you're out there, if you're driving your truck or you're raised side by side or whatever it is, that these are back roads. That's you want to keep them safe. You don't want to ruin your weekend because you're trying to save 5 seconds.
Yeah, that's the crazy part is, I mean, like you kind of said already, that you already alluded to is, you know, he put your family in danger, he put himself in danger. I mean, I get it. I don't like eating a bunch of dust either, but I mean, come on, there's a safer place to do it. I mean, that's just what it comes down to. And everybody has that responsibility out there, and you got to have a little bit of etiquette.
True.
I know being in a pickup truck, you're a little slower. You're taking the roads a little slower, try to pull over as soon as you can, but you got to do
Right.
it in a safe manner. And
Right.
I mean, I know you were doing that, and yeah, that I think that's pretty irresponsible of the guy. Hopefully he's not a subscriber, but if he is, don't be passing on blind corners. Wait until it's safe to do so.
Yes. Anyways, that's all I had on that. Just being safe. My calls for it.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think all the way around, man. I mean, you got to be safe all the way around. I mean, we all want to, even that, man. You paid $20,000 on the lower end for that side by side. You want to ruin it. You want to, you want to wreck it and hurt yourself, maybe even other people, because you want to take a blind corner. Like, think about what you're doing. You didn't pay all that money for that side by side to do that kind of stuff, to be irresponsible. And I think people just, they get, I don't know. I mean, it's hard to say where his mindset was. He might have took it personal because he might have been coming around because you said that you pulled over, let those other ones by, and then you pulled out again. Maybe he came around the corner right when you were pulling out, and he was like, "Oh, what's this?" You gotta think about everybody in that scenario. Maybe Joe just said it. He didn't see anybody else. He didn't notice anybody else coming around the corner, so he thought he was in the clear. Like, I don't know if he was trying to make I guess, like, we're kind of doing the same thing that we're telling him not to do, like project what he was thinking, but I mean, I just don't know why he felt like he had to be so aggressive around a blind corner. I just think that's pretty irresponsible of
Yeah.
somebody. So we could probably go on forever about that, but about how people are crazy.
True.
But
We all got that. I'm sure we're not perfect. We all mess up, but
oh yeah,
try to be safe.
yeah. No, I've had to humble myself a few times, made my mistakes on the road too. I mean, that's probably the perspective that we're coming from too, is we've lived a little bit of life. We've made our mistakes.
I
Went
grew
too
up.
fast.
We've both spent a lot of time on gravel roads growing up, learning how to drive. I've I've had my close calls.
So I want to tell this story. I don't think we've told it on the podcast, but so one night me and Joe are on the back roads, and I'm driving my pickup, and
So it's a little Toyota. What was it? 80s model.
yeah, it was an ’84 Toyota, two-wheel drive at that.
Drive.
And then the back end had like a stupid lift on it, so it was kind of like the back end had a lift, and then the front end was stock, so it looked funny. It was a beater. It was like it was my first pickup for sure. I think I drove my dad's car for a little bit, but that pickup was my first pickup. And yeah, I did love that thing. But we're driving around on the back roads, and I'm whooping around the corners. I mean, looking back on it, I think I was just trying to show off for Joe. But
Well,
mind you though, so it's funny how we were just going off about being irresponsible, but to paint the picture, we were like 16, 17 or something.
yeah, probably like 17.
Yeah. So I'm whooping around the corners and trying to slide out, and I think I did a few corners okay, but this one particular corner went a little too hard, and we went in the ditch, and I 2-wheel drive pickup trying to back out, can't do nothing. So Joe, at this time, how much were you benching at that time, Joe?
That time I was probably about 315.
315. So so I'm like, Joe, we're stuck, and he's like, well, let me try to push. And so Mr. 315 bench over here just gets out and pushes the truck out like it was nothing. And I'm like, man, I'm sure glad I got you with me. If I would have been by myself, I would have probably been stuck out there forever.
True.
Oh yeah, and then so this was all at nighttime. We were cruising around in the woods having fun, and but that same night, the other cool thing was it must have been a lightning strike or something, but we saw that fire.
Yeah, that log.
Yeah, there's a log just on fire, like out by itself, no rhyme or reason for it to be on fire, but it was on fire. So me and Joe, we turned into firefighters and put it out. And
you just happened to have a 5-gallon water can in the back of your truck.
I know that. Well, I mean, we were camping up there, so, but I don't know why I had that much water in there. Can't remember.
Yeah. So we grabbed that gallon of that tank of water and walked up and dumped it on this little log that was on fire. We're like, all right, yeah.
Yeah, nothing ever came of it.
Yeah.
Nothing ever came of it. I never heard of another fire, or never heard of it spreading anywhere. So we must have put it out all the way. But I think, if memory serves, why I had that 5-gallon jug of water, the whole reason I had it is because before we went up there, I just changed the water pump in my truck. So I was kind of nervous of it leaking. So I brought water with me just in case, so I could refill it to get back to town if I needed to.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's what it was, because I remember I worked like the whole day before or something like that. I worked, or maybe it was that day, I can't remember, but I put the water pump in that truck. Gotcha. Or a new water pump in that truck. And so I think that's why I had that 5 gallons of water. So then after we put it out, then I was just scared that, like, man, I hope that water pump don't leak now. I'll be in real big trouble.
That's okay. I would have picked your truck up and carried it back to town.
Yeah, just throw it on your shoulders.
Yeah.
I'll sit there and broom.
You ready to slide around the corner, Eric?
Yeah.
Oh, shoot. Good times.
Oh, yeah, that was fun. I love talking about those. I don't know how entertaining it is on the podcast, but I know between me and you, it's fun to go back on, talk about those adventures that we used to have.
Yep.
Well, you ready to call her?
Yeah, I think I'm good for the night. I didn't have any other topics I wanted to cover.
Sounds good. Well, guys, thanks for listening to the podcast. We really appreciate it. I feel like Joe and I we're both getting better and better at this, and we're still trying to tighten things up. And every podcast we do, we're both like learning on how to be better for the next one. It's amazing how long it can take sometimes, but we're working hard at doing this. So thanks for your support, for listening to us, for giving us a shot. Really appreciate it. It's kind of cringy to say it, but if you could, like and subscribe, follow us on the podcast platforms, be much appreciated. We would really appreciate it. With that said, that's all I got for tonight, Joe.
All right. Sounds good. So I guess we'll talk to you fine, struggling people later.
Later, guys.
Have a good one.